Hi everyone, I am Suhas Mohan, your tax mentor at BeingACCA, and in this video, we will be discussing about the June 2025 past exam of June 2025, and which is with the latest updated syllabus. And also, in this video, we'll be specially discussing the first question that relates to Fiona, Emily, and Garth. So let's quickly start off by reading the question. So first, we should assume that today's date is 15th October 2024. All right, this is a very important thing because if you do not remember date, you might be missing out on when the calculations are and what the calculations are for. So this is something you should remember. Next, we'll quickly move on to the next part. Fiona. Fiona has been self-employed for many years and prepares accounts to 30th June each year. She has forecast that her taxable profits will be for the year ended June 30th June 2024. It is 45,200. Okay. For the year ended 30th June 2025, it is 63,800, which is a forecast amount. And for the year ended 30th June 2026, the amount is 93,200 pounds. These are all forecasts. Okay, so let's highlight all these. All right, and next we have Fiona had a total transition profits of 25,000, which arose in the tax year of 23-24. So transitional profits, you have to do nothing but you will just have to divide the amount by 5 to get the amount that will be added as a part of your trading income on each year. And that is because these transitional profits are evenly spread across the coming 5 years from 23 to 24. This is not examinable anymore. That means you will not be having any transitional profits for the current years. But for any transitional profits that arose in 23-24, they will be evenly spread across the next 5 years, that is until 28-29. So we'll highlight this amount as well. Okay. And next part is Emily, Fiona's sister. Fiona's sister Emily has also run her own business for a number of years. Her sales have have always been exactly 6,500 per month until the beginning of July 2024 when she won a new contract. Okay, so it was 6,500 per month until the beginning of July 2024. And next is from July 2024 onwards, her total monthly sales have been 10,800 per month and will stay at this rate for the foreseeable future. Okay, 10,800 per month is also something we'll have to highlight. These sales figures are stated exclusive of value added tax. Emily's sales are all standard rated for VAT purposes. That means all these goods are, taxable for VAT purposes. So all of them are standard rated. It is not necessary to highlight it, but you can, for better reference purpose, you can always, highlight this. All right, now moving on to the next part of it. It is about Garth, Fiona's brother. Fiona's brother, Garth, became self-employed on 1st October 2024. Garth has two full-time employees who are each paid in excess of the employer's Class 1 NIC contributions threshold. Okay, everyone is paid in excess of the Class 1 NIC contribution threshold. He is therefore entitled to the annual employment allowance. The employees are paid monthly. Garth has correctly calculated the amount of NIC in respect of the tax year 24 to 25. It's 1362 and class 1 employer's contribution is 1362 pounds. Class 1 employees contribution is 1200 pounds and class 4 is 1344 pounds. Until 1st October 2024, Garth was employed with all of his tax liability being collected under payee system. Okay. Now we have understood this. Now let's quickly move on to the question. Calculate Fiona's trading profits, which will be taxable in the tax years 2024 to 25 and 25 to 26. Okay. So here we can see the question that they're asking for is the trading profits which will be taxable. That means you can see all the year ends over here in the question are for June 30th, 30th June. But for taxation purposes, I will add it in the scratch pad. For taxation purposes, the profits are to be taken based on apportionment for 6th April, from 6th April to 5th April. So this is what we should be taking. So for that reason, now the taxable trading profits for tax year 2024 to 2025 would be, you know, trading profits. And how do we calculate it? Profits that are related to year ended 30th June 2024. Since 30th, it is year ended 30th June 2024, and our tax year is 6th April 24, 6th April 2024 to 5th April 2024, 5th April 2025, sorry, till 2025. And the trading profits for the year ended 30th June 2024 is 45,200. So because of that, it will be 45,200 into 3 by 12. That is for the month of January, for the month of March, April, and May. So 31st March, April, and May. So this will be your profits that you take in here. And trading profits year ended 30th June 2025. June 2025. So since, because here we have taken 3 months, the other part of the profits that are apportioned for 6th April 24 to 5th April 25 would be the other 9 months that would fall as a part of 30 year ending 30th June 2025. Because only the profits that are related to, 31st March 2025 to 30th June 2025 will not become a part of the tax year 6th April 24 to 25. So for that reason, the profits that are related from 30th June 24 all the way until 31st March 2025 will become a part of the tax year 6th April 24 to 5th April 25. So for that reason, it will be 63,800 into 9 by 12. So this will be our trading profits. And next, the part that will be included are the transition profits. As I've already discussed with you, transition profits that have occurred in the year 23 to 24 will be spread evenly across 5 years. So continuously for the next 5 years, that is from 23 to 24 until 28 to 29, each year you will be getting, whatever the profit is divided by 5 will be added to your taxable trading profits. So now the transition profits is equal to 25,000 divided by 5. Now total taxable profits is equal to sum. Guys, always remember to use these formulas, or you can simply do this plus this to get your answers. But do not simply write the value over here in the total taxable profits by calculating in your personal calculator, because if you do that, you might be making a few mistakes. So for that reason, always try to ensure that you're taking it in a right manner. All right. So this will be a total taxable profits for the tax year 24-25. Next, let's move on to taxable trading profits tax year, 25-26. So same way, this will become a part of 6th April 2025 to 5th April 2026. All right. So because of that, the profits that are relevant to us for this part would be the year end June 2025 profits and the June 2026 profits. The calculation is again similar. So let me extend this for better ease purposes. All right. Now trading profits year ended 30th June 2025. Now again we can see here this will nothing be equal to 63,800 because of this 63,800 it is the 9 months of the profit is relevant to 24-25. So for 25-26 only the 3 months profit is relevant, that is your March to April, April to May, and May to June. All right, into 3 by 12. Okay, next, trading profits year ended 30th June 2026. Over here, it is again the same. It is 93,200 into 9 by 12, your total amount. Next, after this, as we have already discussed, since it is only 20, it is only 25-26, will transition profits will also be a part of this. So transition profits would be is equal to 25,000 divided by 5 is equal to 5,000. So now your taxable total profits would be is equal to, since I've used sum over here, I can use this formula, this plus this plus this will give you 90,850. Now that is your taxable total profits for the year ended 6th April 25 to 5th April 26. So that is what they are asking. What is a trading profits which will be taxable? You will just have to calculate the taxable total profits. You do not have to calculate the tax liability arising on it. And since it is for 3 marks, you will be getting 1.5 marks for this and 1.5 marks for this. And guys, remember transition profits is an important element. So you'll be getting zero point 0.5 for this and 1 mark for the total part of this. All right. So transition profits here as well, you'll be getting zero point 0.5 marks out of the 1.5 marks. So 0.5 will be for transition profits, and for trading profit calculation, it will be 1 mark. All right. So with this, we complete the first part of Fiona, Emily, and Garth's question. Now let's move on to the second part of it. You can see now we'll have to explain from what date Emily will be required to be compulsorily registered for value added tax and therefore have to charge output VAT on her supplies. Okay, so any person has to be compulsorily registered for VAT. And here, since we are talking about, the cash flows in the previous month, since we are at 15th October, we are looking at the historic turnover test, and in which in the past 12 months, if your turnover exceeds 90,000 pounds, then you will have to notify HMRC and register for VAT. So here we can see it was 6,500 per month until the beginning of July 24. So if we see the calculation, so until July 2024, you can see this. I'm just adding as a rough work. I'll probably add it in the scratch pad. You can see 500 into 12 is only coming up to 78,000. So because of that, until July 2024, it was not necessary for it to register itself for VAT purposes. All right. But now, since we are at 15th October 2024, let's go back a bit and let's look at until 30th September 2024, if it is still to be registered or if it does not required to be registered. Okay. So for that reason, total VAT, total VAT related turnover until September 30, 2024. Because if we look at it, then we'll be able to understand if it has happened much, if it has crossed 90,000 before September, or if it is crossing 30, VAT related turnover after September 30th, 2024. So if we can see until July, so from July until the beginning of July. So from July to August, August to September, and September from 1st July, it is 1st July to 1st August, 1st August to 1st September, 1st September to 1st October, or 30th September. So that is 3 months. So, the turnover, increased turnover of 10,800 from July until 30th September is equal to 10,800 into 3. That will give us 32,400. Now we have increased turnover for 3 months, but for VAT we have to look at for the past 12 months. So since this is for 3 months, let's look at the sales before new contract will be is equal to 6,500 into 9, because total is 12 months. So we'll look at before the new contract. After the contract is 3 months. So before the contract would be 9 months, would give us a total of 12 months. Now, total turnover is equal to this plus this. And this will come up to 90,900, which means it is exactly crossing our required turnover of was 90,000. But if we can try to have a rough work. Now we can try to do a rough figure. Since in September it was September 30th, September 30th, it was coming up to September 30th, it was coming up to 90,900. Now it is important for us to look if it was actually exceeding, the VAT registration in August 30. So for that, what will happen since it is August 30? We'll only have 10,800, 10,800 into 2. That will be equal to 1,800 into 2 will be 21,600. And because we are taking 2, it will be 6,500 into 10. So 6,500 into 10 is automatically 65,000. So now let's check 65,000 plus 65,000. We are getting it. Oh, so if we can see, we are getting it to a total of 86,600 only. So that means September is the first month where it is exceeding 90,000. So that is what we should write. Since this is the date, September ending is the date where it is exceeding the threshold, then it should be compulsorily registered for value added tax by the first day of the second month after this. So that is what we'll be writing here. Since September is the month where the annual turnover is exceeding 90,000 pounds, Fiona should register her business. Guys, always remember to include the names of the people, because only if you include the names, that is when you will be getting. Sorry, if I'm here, I have made a mistake of writing Fiona. It is actually Emily. Emily should register her business for VAT by the day following the next month end. That is 1st November 2024. And she should notify HMRC by 30th October 31st October 2024, and her registration will be applicable from 1st November 2024. If you write this, you'll be getting your 3 marks. So for this calculation, you'll be getting 2 marks, and if you write this point, you'll be getting 1 mark. So that is how you are having your calculation, and with this, you'll be scoring your 3 marks in total. All right. So first you should understand in which month it is exceeding 90,000. If it's exceeding in September, because it's exceeding in September, it should notify HMRC by the following month end, that is by October 30th. And the registration she should be completely registered by the day following the next month end, or the first day of the second month after it exceeds. You can write it in both ways. Okay. Or first day of the second month in which the business exceeds, in which the annual turnover exceeds 90,000 pounds. All right. With this, we'll move on to the next part of the question. That is the last part of the question. Now, let's see. Explain how and when Garth will have to report details to HMRC of the national insurance contributions due in respect of his employees' earnings during 24-25. Always remember the NIC contributions. Let's write it down. That are related to employees' earnings. Employees' earnings should be reported to HMRC. Should be reported to HMRC by every month end. By every month as a part of the payee system. As a part of the payee system. Okay, so that means all the NICs that are related, that is class 1 NICs should be, reported to HMRC as a part of the payee system, and they should be, reported either should be reported as the month ends, or the employees are entitled to their earnings. Okay, this is what we'll be doing. NIC contributions that are related to employees' earnings. So guys, grammar mistakes, they will not be checking in your examination. So do not spend time on correcting your, typos and all of that. Try to focus on answering your answers correctly. Okay. So explain how it should be part of the pay system. We have explained that, and when it should be reported as the month ends or the employees are entitled to their earnings. So these are the correct answers. All right. So with this, if you write this point, you'll be getting 2 marks. Next, state when state when Garth will have to pay the class 4 NICs due in respect of his self-employment for the tax year 24-25. Always remember, class 4 NICs will have to be made as a part of the total tax liability that you pay, or the payment installment. If you are paying in payment on accounts, it should be paid as a part of the last installment that will be paid on 31st January 2026. Otherwise, also it will be paid on 31st January 2026. Always remember this point. So, class 4 NICs of Garth in respect of a self-employment earnings must be paid on 31st January 2026. That is 31st January following the year end. Okay, since our year ends on 24 to 25, it ends on 5th April 2025, the payment should be made on 31st January following the tax year. Okay, that is 31st January 2026. If you're talking about 25-26, then it will be 31st January 2027. All right. So this is a very, guys, let me tell you, in all my videos, earlier videos as well, I've mentioned for remembering the dates and self-assessment, you will be getting at least 6 to 8 marks out of this, and it is very important that you try to remember the dates as much as possible. Okay, now with this we completed two parts of it and we have scored 3 marks from this. Now we'll move on to the third part. The third part says, explain to what extent what extent Garth will be able to benefit from the NIC's annual employment allowance for the tax year 2025 to 2025. Here in the question, we can see that Garth had an contribution. The annual employment allowance is applicable. Annual employment allowance is only applicable on employers contributions, employers NIC class 1 contributions. All right, only on the employers class 1 contribution. And what is the threshold for the annual employment allowance? You do not have to remember that. You can always refer to the tax table. You will have it here in the tax table. If you look at it in the NIC part, always see that the employment allowance is available for £5,000. So if your NIC liability is less than £100,000, your employer's NIC liability is less than 100,000, you will be getting your annual employment allowance, which will reduce your NIC liability by £5,000. And the other important aspect to be remember to be entitled to the annual employment allowance is that the director should not be the only employee. That means Garth should not be the only employee. Here we can see Garth has other two full-time employees. So because of that, he'll be entitled to the annual employment allowance. So now we can see, since it is £5,000 and the contribution is only £1,362, the entire £1,362 will be exempted. That is what we'll be writing here. To what extent? Since Garth is eligible for annual employment allowance of £5,000, and the class 1 and employers class 1 NIC contribution is £1,362. You can try to use the symbol from here, but if not, that is completely all right, but you'll be getting the symbol from here. £1,362. Okay. So the entire £1,362 will be exempted and or eliminated eliminated as a part of annual employment allowance, thus creating a savings of 13 1362 pounds. With this, we come to an end of this question. Even if you write 1362 pounds and to what extent, because it is 5000 pounds, you will be scoring your 1 mark. But if you write it like this, it will be more presentable. All right, with this, we come to an end of this question. Hope to see you guys in the next video. And if you guys have any doubts, feel free to mention in the comments. I'll be responding to them at the earliest and try to resolve all your queries within 1 or 2 working days. Bye, guys. Have a good day.